There are also a number of ways that this mark falls short. I remain deeply concerned by the Trump administration's attacks on the rule of law and Congress's constitutional role to conduct oversight. Congress has never received the statutorily required explanation for this administration's decision to remove the Department of Defense Inspector General. There was also no justification ever provided to Congress for removing the top legal advisors for the military services, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the chief of naval operations, or the commander of Cyber Command and the National Security Agency. This mark includes important guardrails to ensure continued professionalism in the military, including requiring congressional notification for removing the military's top legal advisors and reiterating the importance of independent legal advice of judge advocates. But we need to do much more to address the destruction done by this administration. I look forward to working with my colleagues to continue to build on these reforms in the full committee markup. Secretary Hegseth's attacks on transgender troops, on women, and on people of color are a grave mistake that will damage our military for decades. We owe these highly qualified service members who have served their country for decades our gratitude, not the contempt and cruelty that current leaders at the Pentagon have dished up. When people are qualified and they want to serve, then our military should welcome them. If Congress passes an NDAA that prioritizes waging culture wars over fighting America's enemies, then our nation will be weakened. Finally, there is one provision that I am particularly pleased to have included. I have been concerned about brain injury risks from blast overpressure since I first joined the Armed Services Committee in 2016. I worked with Senator Ernst to secure a long-term study of blast overpressure injuries in the FY 2018 NDAA, and I secured additional requirements to track blast overpressure injuries in the FY 2020 NDAA. Last year's NDAA included historic reforms taken from my Blast Overpressure Safety Act, and I appreciate the help with Senator Scott in moving this forward. These reforms help commanders better protect their troops from unnecessary exposure by collecting more data on blast overpressure risks during the weapons testing and acquisition process. Last year's bill also required DoD to update blast overpressure safety thresholds based on more comprehensive criteria, and it encourages DoD to partner with outside organizations to improve service members' access to care when they suffer the effects of blast overpressure. As a result of more attention and more research funding, we are learning that brain injury is a serious problem in our military, but it is only part of the story. Research now shows that the special operations community is experiencing higher rates of cardiovascular health challenges like heart disease, more chronic pain, and elevated rates of hypertension. Doctors are also starting to see special operations forces experience above-the-neck tumors and cancers at rates that are considerably higher than would otherwise be expected in people of similar age and similar physical conditions. The numbers are preliminary, but the patterns are deeply disturbing. This mark requires DoD to explore the feasibility of a study on the long-term consequences of blast overpressure so that we can better understand what we're up against and prevent future tragedies. DoD would benefit enormously by partnering up with outside experts to conduct a longitudinal study on the lasting effects of blast overpressure. So this is a big one. I hope we will keep pushing on this in our time ahead. These are only a few of the highlights of the legislative package we present for markup. I want to thank all of the members of the subcommittee and the full committee for their work, as well as their staff. I especially Want to thank committee staff, John Clark, whose birthday it is today, and we are holding this hearing in your honor. Gary Leeling, Andy Scott, Sophia Kamali, Noah Sisk, Jenny Davis, Sean O'Keefe, Brendan Gavin, Katie Magnus, Megan Galindo, Isaac Jalickson, Greg Lilly, and Leah Brewer. Thank you all. Your work is how we get this done.